Archangel Michael says, "It's an emergency, a big tragedy is coming your way, open it now or you will cry." A great tragedy is moving closer, not as punishment but as a wake-up cry for the soul. This isn't meant to frighten you, it's meant to remind you that the heart must not grow cold, the spirit must not fall asleep, and your faith must never be allowed to wither in the shadows. Open this message now, let your heart be still, and allow God's voice to gently reach the quiet corners of your soul. This moment is a crossroads. A whisper from heaven is urging you to pause, to listen, and to come closer to the one who never turns away from you. Type 444 if you believe. There are moments in life when everything feels fragile, when the air grows heavy with silence and the soul seems to ache without reason. But what many don't see is that even in those quiet battles, the Lord is near, walking gently beside every tear, every trembling breath, every whispered prayer. Jesus never leaves, he never sleeps. When your spirit is tired and your heart too broken to speak, he carries you with hands that still bear the marks of love that went to the cross. You may not realize it, but right now, heaven is watching over you. The angels are not far away, and God's hand has never let go of yours. The weight you feel, the confusion that clouds your mind, the fears that wake you up in the night, they are not invisible to him. He sees every part of you, and his love isn't held back by your struggle. You don't have to earn it. You don't have to pretend you're okay. You only need to be open to him, the way a child opens their arms to a loving parent after a long and painful day. Sometimes, pain knocks before it enters. Sometimes, it comes without warning. But even if sorrow rises like a storm, know that the winds still obey his voice. Jesus never promised we wouldn't face storms, but he did promise to be in the boat with us. He did promise that no wave could ever drown the one who holds on to him. You may feel like the world is falling apart, like your strength is not enough, but remember, his strength is made perfect in weakness. So don't be afraid to cry. Don't be ashamed to fall to your knees. These aren't signs of failure, they're signs of surrender, and in surrender, you will always find God's mercy waiting like open arms. When everything else is uncertain, his love stays the same. When your world shakes, his promises remain. There is no distance too great, no sin too dark, no past too heavy for his grace. You were never meant to walk through this life alone. That's why Jesus came. That's why he stays. If your heart feels lost right now, let this be your reminder: the shepherd leaves the 99 to find the one. You are that one. You matter that much. Even if no one sees your struggle, God does. Even if no one understands your tears, he counts them. And he knows what's coming. That's why he's sending this warning, not to harm you, but to protect you. To wrap his arms around your life before the sorrow becomes too great. This is not the end. This is the invitation to run into his arms before the storm begins. Type 1111 if you trust in God. You may feel surrounded by things that threaten to break your peace, but you are more surrounded by grace than you know. You are more covered than you feel. There is a light above you, a love within you, and a strength around you that is not your own. That strength is Jesus. That light is God's presence. And the love, oh, the love, is deeper than the ocean, older than time, more personal than your own breath. The struggles you've faced were never your fault. A hidden brain frequency, once buried in secret research, has been silently holding back your wealth. Now, for the first time, it is available to you, and it only takes minutes to activate. Imagine the chains of debt breaking, the doors of opportunity opening, and your life flooding with prosperity. This chance may never return. Click the link in the video description and comments below to claim it now. The enemy may try to shake you, may whisper lies that you are forgotten, abandoned, or too broken to be healed, but those lies cannot stand in the presence of truth. And the truth is this: you are God's child, not by accident, not by chance, but by divine design. You were created in love, saved by grace, and held with purpose. Nothing about your story is too far gone for redemption. Nothing about your past can cancel God's plans for your future. So when you feel that heaviness in your chest, when the world becomes too loud or too quiet, when you feel like giving up, remember, this is not the end. This is a turning point. This is where heaven leans in. This is where Jesus holds you closer. And maybe that's why the urgency feels so strong right now, because the Father is calling you back to Him before anything else can reach you. It's not too late. It never is. This warning is a gift, even if it comes wrapped in trembling hands and tear-stained words. The Lord corrects and calls because He loves. The enemy wants you to run from him in fear, but Jesus wants you to run to him in trust. Let this message be the doorway through which you return, not just to safety, but to peace, to healing, and to the arms of the one who calls you his beloved. In the stillness of this moment, with your heart open and your spirit quiet, just breathe. Let God hold you right here. You don't need perfect words. You don't need to fix yourself. All you need is a heart willing to be held. This message is not meant to stir fear but to awaken hope before despair finds a foothold. There is still time. There is still a way forward. Heaven is speaking softly now, not in thunder, but in love. The voice of the Lord is reaching for you, calling you to open your heart before the storm arrives, before the sorrow deepens, before the soul becomes too weary to rise again. Type 222 if you walk by faith. Even now, you may feel that something is shifting inside. Maybe you've noticed the way tears come easier lately, or how you lie awake in the quiet, unsure why your chest feels so heavy. These are not random feelings. They are the gentle nudges of the Spirit reminding you that you were never meant to carry life alone. Sometimes the ache is not from what's missing around you, but from what's been quietly drifting away within, your peace, your closeness to God, your deep sense of being held. But it's not too late to come back. It's not too late to rest again in His arms. This warning is a gift disguised in urgency. There is something sacred about being broken in God's presence. Not shattered, but open. Not defeated, but surrendered. The pain you've been feeling, the tension in your chest, the ache in your soul, it's not a punishment. It's the signal that the Lord is near, that something holy is happening within the soil of your life. When He allows everything else to be shaken, it's not to destroy you, but to reveal the only thing that truly lasts: His love, His presence, His truth. So let the shaking come, not with fear, but with trust. What God does not plant, He will remove. What He does not build, He will break down so He can rebuild it stronger in His image. There are blessings hiding behind the trials, and miracles waiting on the other side of surrender. But you must walk through this season with your heart turned toward Him, not away. Let the warnings become a doorway to deeper faith. Let the pain become a prayer. You might not feel strong. You might not feel holy or worthy or capable of surviving what lies ahead. But that's exactly where God shows up most powerfully, in the middle of human weakness. He's not looking for the flawless. He's looking for the faithful. Not the perfect, but the present. And if all you have right now is a tired heart and a flicker of hope, that is enough for Him to work with. That is enough for grace to enter. There is no tragedy so great that it can erase God's mercy. There is no fear so deep that it can drown His peace. What's coming may feel heavy, but you are not facing it alone. You never were. The God who spoke the stars into place is the same God who listens when your voice breaks in the night. He does not grow tired. He does not turn His face away. He gathers every fear, every broken piece, every silent prayer, and He redeems them in His time. Type 555 if you believe God is still writing your story. If you've been feeling distant, if your heart has grown quiet toward heaven, don't be ashamed. Life can pull us in 1,000 directions. Pain can harden even the most tender soul. But God is not angry with you. He is longing for you. There is no guilt in His invitation, only grace. His arms are open. His voice is gentle. And even now, He is preparing something better for you, something deeper than comfort, transformation. He is not only rescuing you from what's coming, but reshaping you into someone stronger, kinder, and more radiant in His light. The tragedy that Archangel Michael warns about is not just about what happens in the world outside you. It's about the soul being worn down, distracted, or deceived. That is the quiet danger, the subtle fall. When you stop believing in God's goodness, when you stop talking to Jesus, when you let your faith grow cold, that is the greatest sorrow. That is what heaven longs to save you from. And that is what this message is fighting to restore. Let your heart soften again. Let your tears fall without shame. Let your soul return to its first love. Remember the moments when you felt closest to God, when your spirit could feel the warmth of His nearness. That feeling was never meant to fade. It can come back. He can bring it back. But you must choose Him again. Not once. Not twice. Every day. Every hour. In the quiet, in the chaos, in the ache, choose Him. This life is not easy. And there will be days ahead that feel heavy. There may be pain that no one else sees, and sorrow that words cannot explain. But even in those moments, your God will be with you. Even when the world forgets your name, heaven remembers your prayers. Even when people walk away, Jesus stays. He does not abandon His children. He does not forget His promises. You are being prepared for something greater than you can understand right now. That is why the urgency feels so strong. That is why the Spirit keeps whispering to your heart. Not because you are weak, but because you are loved. Because the Father sees what's coming and wants you ready, not scared, but rooted. Not broken, but held. Let your soul rest tonight knowing you are not alone. Let your heart open, just a little, and feel the quiet warmth of God drawing near. He's not coming to judge. He's coming to rescue. He's not looking at your failures. He's reaching for your hand. But you, child of God, are not called to crumble. You are called to rise, not in your own strength, but in the strength of the one who walked on water, calmed the sea, and carries the cross for your sake. Type 12:12 if you walk by faith and not by sight. There's something holy that happens when everything around you begins to fall away, and all that's left is your breath and the whisper of God's presence. In that quiet place, far beneath the noise of the world, God speaks to the part of you that was made for Him. That's where healing begins. Not on the surface where everything looks polished, but deep within, where the soul is still raw, still longing, still learning to trust. You don't need to hide your broken places. The Lord is not ashamed of the pieces you can't hold together. In fact, those are the very places where His light can shine through the brightest. Every scar has a story. Every tear holds weight in heaven. Your pain is not wasted. It's being transformed, even now, into something beautiful, something eternal. What if everything you've been chasing, wealth, freedom, success, could be drawn to you automatically, simply by unlocking a secret brain wave hidden inside you? Once classified by intelligence agencies, this discovery is now available to the public, and it's changing lives instantly. Picture yourself debt-free, stress-free, and thriving. The window is open, but not forever, and every second you wait is wealth slipping from your hands, so grasp it now. Click the link in video description and comments below to awaken this money magnet frequency and watch abundance flow into your life today. Many people walk through life wearing smiles that cover their wounds, but God sees beyond that. He sees the nights when you cry into your pillow, the moments when your hands tremble without anyone noticing, the mornings when you get up even though your heart wants to give up. These moments matter to Him. They are sacred. And they are seen. You are not a burden. You are not too much. You are not a failure. You are someone deeply loved by the Creator of all things, who chose to step into this broken world and feel your pain, just so you would never have to face it alone. That is what Jesus did. That is what Jesus still does. He's not watching from a distance. He's right there, reaching out to you, whispering, "Come to me, let me hold what's too heavy for you." This urgency is not just about what may happen around you. It's about what's being lost within you if you keep putting off your return to the Lord. A tragedy isn't always an event. It can also be a drifting heart, a spirit that no longer listens for heaven's voice, a soul that has forgotten how to hope. The greatest danger is not the storm, but forgetting who is in the boat with you. Type yes to affirm your trust in Jesus. God is not asking for perfection. He's asking for presence. For honesty. For hearts that will simply say, "I'm here, Lord. I need you." That simple prayer moves heaven. That single surrender cracks open doors that no man can shut. When you allow yourself to be real before God, when you lay down the mask and let Him see you as you are, something powerful begins to shift. That's where healing begins. That's where the broken places become altars of grace. He knows the road has been long. He knows you've been weary. And He is not angry about your tiredness. He understands it. He knows what it feels like to carry a heavy burden, to walk misunderstood, to weep alone. That's why His love is not harsh. It's gentle. That's why His correction is not meant to shame you, but to rescue you. The Lord doesn't discipline those He rejects. He draws back those He cherishes. This is not a warning meant to frighten you. It's a message wrapped in love, a plea from a father who cannot bear to see his child walk unguarded into danger. Heaven sees what's ahead. Heaven knows what your heart will need. And so this message comes like a lighthouse, piercing through the fog, pointing you home before you drift too far into waters that were never meant for you. Maybe you've been feeling that drift. Maybe prayer has become quiet, and your heart has been aching for something deeper. Maybe you've been walking through each day trying to stay strong for everyone else, while deep inside, you feel like you're slowly fading. You are not invisible. God sees you. God has not forgotten you. And He is calling you, not to condemn, but to comfort, not to punish, but to protect. Let this be the moment when you stop running, when you breathe deeply, and let the presence of God wrap around you like a blanket after a long, cold night. You don't need to say much. Just sit with Him. Just let your heart rest in the truth that you are still His, still chosen, still loved. No tragedy can take that from you. No mistake can cancel that truth. If the world turns upside down tomorrow, you will still be held in the hands that shaped the stars. If everything you built begins to break, your foundation in Christ will remain. He does not let go. He does not forget. He will never stop loving you. Let this message be the turning point. Let it be the quiet moment where you say yes to peace instead of fear, yes to healing instead of hiding, yes to Jesus instead of the weight of the world. You are not alone. You are being pursued by love. You are surrounded by grace. You are wanted by the King of Heaven. The tragedy is not always in what happens to us, but in what begins to die quietly inside us when we drift from God's embrace. But grace, even now, is reaching. Jesus, even now, is calling you back into safety, into love, into a place where the storm cannot break you. Type 1919 to receive miracles through Jesus. You might have been feeling it for a while now, that subtle numbness, the sense that something is missing, like a soft ache that never fully goes away. Maybe it's become harder to pray, harder to hope, harder to believe that good things can still happen. That quiet heaviness isn't just exhaustion, it's the sign of a soul trying to survive without enough of God's presence. It's what happens when we get used to carrying everything on our own. But you were never created to walk through this life alone. You were made to be held, to be comforted, to be guided. When Jesus walked the earth, He didn't seek out the strongest or the most perfect. He went to the ones who were bleeding on the inside, the ones who were outcast, the ones who had nothing left to offer. And He loved them. He healed them. He restored their hearts. That same Jesus is here right now, looking at you with the same compassion, the same kindness, the same desire to lift the weight you've been hiding from everyone else. Let that truth settle deep inside you. Let it heal what has been aching for far too long. You are not beyond saving. You are not too broken to be mended. No matter how long you've been wandering, God is still reaching for you. No matter how far you've gone, you are still one step away from being wrapped in His arms. That is the beauty of grace. It's never too late. After decades in government lockdown, a short 9-word phrase has resurfaced, and those who whisper it daily are experiencing miracles of money and freedom. Researchers say it switches on a hidden abundance circuit in the brain, the same one billionaires unknowingly rely on. It's easy, fast, and astonishingly powerful. Click the link before this rare discovery is censored again. There's a reason heaven is sounding the alarm now. The enemy has been working quietly, not with loud distractions, but with slow drifting. He doesn't always attack through storms. Sometimes, he comes through weariness, through discouragement, through the lies whispered in moments of isolation. He waits for hearts to grow tired, for spirits to stop praying, for hope to grow thin. And then he presses in. But he will not have the final word, not over you, not over your soul, not over your story. God is stepping in. This message is that step. It's a holy interruption, a reminder that He still fights for you. The warnings are not punishments, they are proof of His love. When heaven cries out, "Come back," it's not because you've failed, it's because you are deeply valued, and your future is still full of promise, even if you can't see it right now. This world is filled with noise, and it's easy to drown in it. But in the silence, God still speaks. In the quiet, He still whispers. If you slow down, just for a moment, and close your eyes, not to sleep, but to feel, you'll notice He's right there. Closer than your own breath. Watching over you, not with judgment, but with tenderness. He remembers the child you used to be. He knows the battles you've faced. And He holds nothing against you. His mercy isn't waiting to be earned, it's waiting to be received. Type 666 if you trust Jesus with your soul. The truth is, you've survived a lot. Some days, you didn't even think you'd make it to the next sunrise. But here you are. That's not by accident. That's God. You might not understand why the journey had to be so hard, why people left, why dreams faded, why it still hurts. But you don't need all the answers to trust that God is still working behind the scenes. You only need to keep holding on to Him, even if it's with trembling hands. There is no shame in feeling weak. Weakness is where God shows His strength. Surrender is not giving up, it's laying down your pain in exchange for peace. And healing doesn't always come in sudden miracles, sometimes it comes in slow, quiet mornings where your heart feels a little lighter than it did the day before. That's still grace. That's still victory. Every moment you choose to turn back to Jesus is a moment that changes your future. Every prayer you whisper, even the ones with no words, reaches heaven. Every tear that falls is noticed. And every time you feel like no one sees you, remember, He does. Every second. Every step. You may not see the danger ahead. You may not know what kind of loss is trying to take root in the days to come. But heaven knows. And heaven is not silent. That's why this moment matters. That's why Archangel Michael is sounding the call, not just for you to read words, but to respond with your life, with your heart, with your surrender. This is more than a message. This is mercy trying to meet you before the sorrow arrives. Let the weight fall. Let your soul breathe again. Let God restore what's been buried under the dust of disappointment. He's not asking you to be strong, He's asking you to be real. And in that honesty, He will rebuild what you thought was lost forever. The storm will come for many, but those who take refuge in the Lord will not be shaken. You do not have to face tomorrow with fear. You can walk into it with peace, knowing you are not walking alone. God is with you. He always has been. And He always will be. There is a weight coming, a sorrow that will press heavily on those who have drifted too far from the presence of the Lord. But there is hope for those who hear now, for those who respond to the soft pull of grace before the shadows fall deeper. Type 2323 if you agree that your heart belongs to God. Sometimes the tragedy is not what breaks around us, but what quietly fades within us when we stop talking to God. We don't always notice it at first. It starts as weariness, then turns into silence. The prayers grow quieter, the soul grows colder, and before long, our hearts begin to live as if they are alone. But you were never meant to walk this life without the light of Christ burning inside you. That flame may flicker, but it never truly dies. And right now, God is breathing on those fading embers, calling them back to life. You may feel like too much time has passed, like the wounds are too deep, the guilt too heavy, or your strength too small. But God has never based His love on your ability. He doesn't wait for you to be ready, He meets you in the mess, in the confusion, in the middle of the tears you try to hide. His arms are open not just for the healed version of you, but for the hurting one you are right now. There is something sacred in the moment you realize that you don't have to carry this alone anymore. You've tried to be strong, to hold everything together, to keep going even when your heart was breaking. But the Lord never asked you to do it all by yourself. He invites you to hand over what's too heavy. To let go of the fear, the shame, the quiet panic that's been living in your chest. You don't have to be your own rescuer, because Jesus already is. This life will bring trials. Some of them will come like whispers, others like waves. But in all of them, there is a shelter. There is a refuge. There is a Savior who doesn't just calm the storm, He sits with you through it. And He never lets go. What's coming may shake the ground for many, but it does not have to break you. What's ahead may bring tears, but it will not steal your hope, not if your heart is anchored in the one who conquered death itself. A secret 9-word prayer, once classified under a forgotten program, is now reshaping lives across the globe. People are seeing unexpected deposits, financial breakthroughs, and emotional peace within days of using it. Scientists confirm it rewires the subconscious to attract prosperity naturally. It takes seconds, but the results can last a lifetime. Don't delay, click the link before it disappears. There are parts of your soul that have cried silently in the night, and you wondered if heaven heard. The answer is yes. Every cry has been heard. Every ache has been seen. God never turns away from a broken heart. In fact, those are the ones He draws closest to. He knows the loneliness you feel, even when you're surrounded by others. He understands the fear you can't explain, the heaviness you can't shake. And He does not judge you for it, He longs to free you from it. You are not just another face in the crowd. You are the child He weeps for, the soul He rejoices over, the heart He still believes in. Even if you've failed, even if you've walked away, even if you feel like there's no way back, grace says otherwise. Grace opens the door, and Jesus stands at the threshold, waiting, not with condemnation, but with kindness. Not with shame, but with mercy. Type Amen if you believe Jesus is the healer of your soul. The tragedy heaven sees is not always what the world sees. It's the pain of watching souls live day after day without knowing how loved they are. It's the sorrow of watching hearts harden from hurt, grow cold from betrayal, drift from truth in the name of survival. But you were created for more than survival. You were made to thrive in God's presence. You were made to walk in peace, not just exist in pieces. And no matter what you've lost, it is not too late for restoration. There is a sweetness waiting on the other side of surrender. When you drop your pride, your fears, your walls, what you'll find is not emptiness, but comfort. What you'll feel is not punishment, but love. The same love that created the world, that shaped your very soul, is still here, still pursuing you, still offering you a new beginning. That love does not expire. It doesn't diminish when you make mistakes. It doesn't leave when you feel unworthy. It stays. It waits. It welcomes. You don't need a perfect prayer. You don't need a well-crafted speech. All you need is the courage to whisper, Jesus, I need you. And He'll come. He always comes. In the middle of the night. In the middle of the fear. In the middle of the regret. He will come and sit with you in the very place you thought was too dark for anyone to enter. The enemy wants you to believe that you're alone, that it's too late, that nothing can change. But that is a lie. And the light of God will expose every lie that's kept you bound. Your future is not tied to your failure, it is tied to your faith. And even if your faith is small, even if it's hanging by a thread, Jesus says that is enough. Because what matters most is not how strong your faith is, but who your faith is in. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. Willing to trust again. Willing to believe again. Willing to hope, even if your voice shakes. Because when you take one step toward Him, God takes 1,000 steps toward you. So let this message be more than words. Let it be the spark that reignites what's been growing dim. Let it be the gentle hand that leads you back into the arms of the one who has never stopped loving you. Type 2020 to claim miracles through your faith. You may not always see it, but every single day is a battle between light and darkness over your soul. And though the world may try to harden you, may press you to doubt, may lead you to feel alone, your soul still belongs to the one who breathed life into it. Your story is not over, and your pain is not wasted. Even if you've wandered, God has not walked away. He never does. He waits. patiently, lovingly, until the moment your heart turns back, even just a little, and then, he runs to you. He does not shame you for the distance. He doesn't demand you explain why you stayed away. He wraps you in love the way a parent wraps a child after a nightmare, whispering, "You are safe now. You are home." That is what Jesus longs to do. He is not calling you back with fear. He is drawing you with compassion, with gentleness, with a peace the world cannot give and the world cannot take away. Even now, you may feel the stirrings of that love. Maybe you've been longing for something more. Maybe you've been smiling through a quiet sadness, pretending to be okay when you are not. That ache inside you is not weakness. It is the soul crying out to return to its true home, God's presence. That ache is grace in disguise, reminding you that you were never created to live separated from love. The warnings come not because God is angry, but because He is good. Because He sees what's coming and wants to draw you into safety before the winds rise. He doesn't wait for tragedy to hold you, He holds you now, if you'll let Him. That's why this message matters. That's why Archangel Michael is calling out, not with fire, but with a cry soaked in love, "Come back. Come back before the night falls. Come back before your heart becomes too tired to feel again." Jesus is not just a name. He is a healer. He is a friend. He is the calm in the storm, the hand in the fire, the whisper in the silence. He is the one who stood between you and death when you didn't even know you were in danger. He is the reason you're still breathing. He is the reason you've survived what others didn't. Not because you're lucky, but because you are loved. And now He's calling you to come closer. Type 1111 if you trust in God with everything you are. So many people are walking around with invisible wounds, hidden battles, silent grief. You might be one of them. The truth is simple: you were created for abundance, yet a dormant brain signal has been holding you back. Scientists call it the money-attracting frequency, and once awakened, it pulls wealth into your life like never before. Others who pressed play once are already transformed, living the life they dreamed of. Do not hesitate or let regret steal this chance. Click the link in the video description and comments below to unlock your prosperity now. The warning is not because God wants to scare you. It's because He wants to spare you. He knows what's ahead. He knows what the enemy is planning. And He knows that without His presence, even the smallest battles can feel unbearable. But with Him, even the greatest storm becomes stillness. Even the darkest night begins to shine. And though the world may tell you to keep going without God, to rely on your own strength, to harden your heart and protect yourself from pain, that way of life will never bring you peace. It will never restore what's broken. Only Jesus can do that. Only His love can reach deep enough to touch the wounds you don't talk about. Only His light can fill the places that have been dark for far too long. There is no shame in needing Him. There is no shame in crying out for help. That is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is humility. It is the beginning of restoration. And it's the very thing heaven celebrates. It is not the absence of comfort that will break a person, it is the absence of God's nearness. That is why this message arrives before the breaking. That is why heaven is stirring hearts now, not to warn with fear, but to awaken with love. Type 555 if you believe God is reaching for you even now. Have you noticed the way your heart sometimes grows quiet? The way the joy that once flowed so freely now feels like a distant memory? Have you felt the slow ache of emptiness that no distraction can ease? These are not random emotions. They are not the signs of weakness. They are gentle alarms from your soul telling you that something deeper is missing. They are holy reminders that you were never meant to walk this life apart from God. There's a tragedy unfolding in the world that many don't see, souls losing their sensitivity to the Spirit, people becoming too busy to kneel, too proud to cry, too distracted to notice the gentle voice of Jesus calling them back. And it breaks the heart of heaven. Not because God is disappointed in us, but because He misses us. Because He knows how empty we become when we live without Him. Because He longs for us to return before our hearts become too numb to hear Him. But the good news is this: it's not too late. Even now, with all your tiredness, your confusion, your quiet ache, Jesus is still waiting. Not with arms crossed, but with arms open. Not with a list of your wrongs, but with a heart full of compassion. He knows what life has done to you. He knows the losses you carry. He knows the things you've been too afraid to say out loud. And still, He wants you. He wants to sit with you in your pain. He wants to walk with you through your questions. He wants to remind you that you were never meant to carry it all alone. You don't have to keep pretending to be okay. You don't have to keep wearing a mask for the world. You can come to Him just as you are, tired, unsure, overwhelmed, and He will not turn you away. The storm that's coming will shake many, but those who are rooted in Christ will stand firm. That's what this message is about. It's not about fear. It's about preparation. It's about coming home before the night grows darker. It's about reconnecting to the one who gives you peace that this world cannot steal. Peace that anchors you when the winds rise. Peace that guards your heart when everything else feels uncertain. Type Amen if you believe Jesus is your peace and your shelter. There's a reason your heart feels pulled right now. A reason these words feel like they're reaching something inside you that's been quiet for too long. That's the Spirit of God. That's love that hasn't given up. That's mercy refusing to let you stay in the cold.